Episode 33 of the Geek Week in Review, and we are talking about the Book of Boba Fett that had a very special guest indeed. So without further ado, let's jump straight in.
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review with me, Jacob's Toys, of course, SuperSorrell, and Ryan Speaks Geek. Now, if you are listening on podcast, please do continue to download, share, all those kind of things. We do appreciate our podcast listeners. And if you're watching on YouTube, then as always, please do like, share, subscribe, all of those things. Check the details, the description below for both Ryan and Sorrell's details, and give them a follow if you don't already do so. So, episode 33.
I think you're going to have to do that in one breath one day, just to see if you could do it.
It's like, blowing birthday candles out, isn't it? It's like, the thing is, although I say the same kind of stuff, it's not actually scripted. So I'm trying to remember what it is that I need to say. But, you know, one of these days, maybe on episode 63 or something like that. Or
you notice that because he was so concentrating on saying my name right this week, that it didn't call me the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell.
No, I know. I always say it. Let me say it. The wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. Yes, I do have a confession to make.
And the painfully average Ryan Speaks Geek.
And the pain. Well, I felt really bad after a while because obviously I was like, ever since started with Sorrell, like, obviously talking, wonderful one and only SuperSorrell, and then Ryan joined, and it's like, and Ryan Speaks Geek. It is.
That's gonna be Ryan.
Do you know what?
Please do that on your next video. Please do that.
Do you know what? I actually was really bored one day, and then worked out that I started writing a theme song, and then I started writing it to the tune of DuckTales.
Nice.
I was like, Speaks Geek, woo! Here's some nerd guys wearing glasses. Speaks Geek, woo! I was like, this is just DuckTales. This is just DuckTales.
Love it. Love it.
Collecting
copyright, fair Bruce. Oh no.
Yeah. So I every week I think about it, and I've always called Sorrell, and every week when we record, I'm like, I've said it wrong. Gonna have to go back and correct it. So I made sure that I did this week. So it's SuperSorrell. You guys know him. So yeah, episode 33 for us. This is, we are well and truly into 2022. We're at the end of January now, so we've done a month's worth of shows for 2022, and we haven't lived up to our promise yet. We haven't had any more guests on since Steve Evans, so we do apologise for that. But we have got a few in the works. We're working on a few things, so things take time.
How do you follow up with how do you get a follow-up guest from Steve Evans? How do you get any bigger than that? I thought Ryan Pendergast was going to be the highest we could go, but then we got Steve.
But the thing is that
we just try and get a random celebrity. I mean, Bill Murray, he just says yes to everything. Can we just ask him?
I don't want to have any more guests on because we had Steve on and he was talking about vintage, like retro figures. And now I'm like, and this is just the ones I can grab. The others are all up on the shelves. But
I love that I've been trying to get you into that, and you now have more than me.
I've known you for however many years now, like going on 20 years, and you were not able to convert me. Steve popped on for like a half-hour segment, and I've just bought a whole line. But no, I've got almost every figure in there. I've got all but I think it's three figures now. I'm literally looking for Grey Hulk, Vision, and Black Panther, and then I've got all of the ones released, including the recently the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Wolverine and Jean Grey, or Phoenix as she is, but they're wicked. They are wicked, and I will admit my wrongs where obviously you were saying about the vintage line and the 3 3/4 inch line. I'm pleased that I've got a 3 3/4 inch line now. I feel like I've earned my place alongside you gents, because obviously you've both got your 3 3/4 inch lines. So there we go. But
welcome
how do you
to 3 3/4 inch park?
Don't hum it for longer than a couple of seconds, because we'll get a copyright claim.
Drop a beat remix. What?
But you are right. How do we follow up Steve Evans? I mean, Steve was definitely a fantastic guest, but we have got a few kind of guys and girls lined up. So we just, things take time. So we'll just keep plodding along. But it has been a relatively quiet week. Let's be fair. There hasn't been a huge amount going on, which for I suppose for the most part, I mean, Sorrell, we've spoken about this, that with Toy Fair season and all that kind of stuff, this is usually where things would drop and things would get announced and stuff like that. So pre-orders are quite slow, like shipments are quite slow. All those kind of things have kind of slowed down for this kind of end of January, beginning of February. I mean, it's all going to speed up, but we're in that kind of calm before the storm, shall we say.
So there is a couple of things that we can talk about that we can sort of raise. So one of the things that came out of Toy Fair from London, which makes me gutted that I didn't go now, was that Jazzwares was there, and they launched the new Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron line. Ooh. Which is a bit like Micro Machines, to be honest. It looks a lot like Micro Machines. They're celebrating the 25th anniversary with, I didn't know Jazzwares made Star Wars before, to be honest, but apparently they're celebrating 25 years with them. And they're launching the first authentically scaled vehicle line series in Star Wars history, the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron. This line is broken down into various vehicle sizes from Assault class ships to Scout class ships, and many in between. We don't know much more than what was on display at Toy Fair, but they look pretty cool. And they are in scale with one another. So like you've got like the Razor Crest and then the Millennium Falcon, and they're completely different sizes. It's not like it's one size fits all kind of thing. They've made them
like the Hot Wheels
the ships.
line.
Yeah, they've made them so the ships actually scale to get like the
that's
like,
cool.
Like they're gonna release some of the larger class ships that will obviously dwarf the smaller ships. And they look really cool, and they're all metal. Ooh. So this sounds really nice. I can't wait to see some of these in person.
That is really cool. I wonder what the kind of standard will be, because obviously, you know, if you were going to have a decent sized pod racer, for example, the Millennium Falcon would have to be quite substantial, and then the Death Star would be like huge. So I mean, I wonder what the kind of
even a Star Destroyer would have to be a couple of feet at least.
Yeah.
From looking at the pictures, I mean, I'm going off a photo from a wall here, but like the Millennium Falcon looks to be about that. That. So it's quite large.
But that's a good size for them to scale down and it still be a decent collectible.
Yeah, and then I can see a couple of there's some smaller ships that all come in they look like almost like mystery boxes. I'm not sure if you can see what's in them, but there's like loads of little smaller ships that are going to come in these little boxes. So there's all sorts of stuff coming. So that could be a very cool line to collect.
Yeah, I must admit, them Micro Machine ones, I did like them. I picked up a couple of them. Are they the ones that had like the finger stands?
That's the Hot Wheels line. Micro Machines was originally produced by Galoob, and in the early 90s had a big resurgence, including the expansion into the expanded universe, including the books such as Heir to the Empire and Dark Horses. However, that line has long since passed and was
it's like he's reading it off the screen. Are you reading it off the screen?
Sorry, my teleprompter stopped. One sec. Where's that? There. So that line is no longer really that enforced, unfortunately. But Micro Machines was awesome. Hot Wheels then got the license and did the character cars, but then did the vehicles, which were called the Flight Navigators, which are the stands that you put your finger on, which are also awesome, and I have many of those.
Speaking of Hot Wheels, I'm not sure if you saw my video today, but Smiths have started getting in the new line. These are the new hardback ones for 2022, and we've got a little Grogu. Not resist getting.
That's pretty cool.
And then they've got the little Mando car as well.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Because they have done the Hot Wheels Razor Crest in that scale. You know, the diecast with the little stand. The problem is, trying to get in from America is stupid money. But I mean, I'm really trying to keep an eye out because we didn't get many of the Last Jedi ones over here, unfortunately. But
I've got
keep my eye out.
I also picked up the Mission Fleet Razor Crest today to see if that 3¾ inch figures will fit in it or not.
Ooh. And
so I don't know yet. I'm going to do that video tomorrow. I don't know yet.
Do a Steve Evans, rip the box open right now, live on air.
Speaking of Steve, because we mentioned him a few times, did either of you guys pick up the video that he did of the Blue Milk book, the vintage collection book that he got sent?
That looks very cool.
Looks very cool. And Steve did a video as well. And if anyone's watching, go and check out Steve's Instagram, because he did a video that kind of showed you the history of like the Rey figure from The Force Awakens, because there's a page in the book that shows the figure, and it was like the prototype figure that was put together to obviously announce that the vintage collection was coming back. And then he has that figure because he mocked it up and that kind of stuff. And then he showed us the reveal video from 2017. Like, it was just a really cool video and like a really nice bit of history. But that book looks incredible for any kind of 3¾ inch collectors of the vintage collection. It looks really good because it's great history of it. And I know you love a book, Ryan, so get on it.
I do love a book. These glasses ain't just for show.
And
another thing that didn't work.
Another thing that came out this week was they released the Marvel's Star Wars: The Halcyon Legacy, which is the new comic book, which actually brings the Halcyon class ship, which is the new hotel in Disneyland and Disney World. Star Wars ship, the Galaxy Cruiser, or whatever they called it. It's officially called the Halcyon, is the class of ship that it is, and they've officially made it a part of canon now, and they've given it some backstories that are going to be in Marvel Comics. And many of our heroes and villains from the galaxy have actually flew on this ship, apparently, and we're going to get some stories from the Clone Wars era of when this ship was flying around the galaxy.
I thought they renamed it to the Extortionate Saga, but that was someone else.
I'm not saying a thing because I'm going out there in a few weeks and I want to stay on their good side, and I want to go inside that thing.
I love it. I just don't have any money to do it. That's why I'm just bitter about it.
But the one thing that looks absolutely amazing is that on the front cover, it's clearly a Wookiee Jedi. And he's got what I can only describe as they call it a claymore sword, like a big, massive Scottish style sword. He's got this great big broadsword, and it's got a lightsaber coming out of it. And
that's cool.
That does look so cool. So yeah, I definitely want to pick that book up, and it shows you all the droids and the characters that are basically on board the ship. They've actually used the likeness of the person that Disney are using to base this on. And so it looks pretty cool. It's the woman from Florida, basically, in the comic book, which is amazing.
Awesome.
That is really cool.
Can't wait.
That is really cool. Speaking of Galaxy's Edge and lightsabers, I saw a video of, they got the lightsaber factory where you pick out your kyber crystal. And me and my son were watching, and he's of the age now where he'll appreciate that as an experience, and it's not just a toy lightsaber. Because obviously, when we went last time, he was just that little bit younger, and getting him a lightsaber was a lightsaber. Whereas now he's at the age. And we kind of watched the video, and it just looks cool. When someone puts the theme over the top and all that. And he kind of looks at me afterwards, and I was like, yes, we will do that this time. And he's just like, so yeah, I'm really excited to get back there. Probably next year, I reckon. Maybe next year, or maybe probably 23, maybe. I don't know. I'm very jealous of you going over there. So I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do the build lightsaber. I'm definitely doing that.
It's got to be done. Other news as well. Dan Young from Marvel Legends, the big three from Marvel Legends, marketing guy. He's very cool on Twitter. His Twitter is a source of knowledge when it comes to kind of reveals and stuff. Sometimes people look into things a little bit too much, but he did tweet out very recently a picture of it was an old Toy Biz box. You can see the Toy Biz logo, and it has I think it was exploding chest action or something like that, like a little caption of what this figure did. And if you know your Toy Biz or whatever, it literally took seconds to figure out what figure that was, and it was actually a close-up of a Ghost Rider figure that kind of exploded apart as well. So there's a lot of speculation now that we're going to get a retro Ghost Rider, which I would be massively game for. I'd definitely be up for. I'm very lucky. I've got both previous versions. I've got the single release that came as part of a wave, and I've also got the Riders one. But I would definitely be up for a retro looking Ghost Rider. And I'd quite like him. I'd quite like it to have a white skull like the comic books did. Do you know what I mean? Because the ones that they released, the two they released, are brilliant figures, but they've got a realistic kind of ivory kind of colored skull, I suppose, and there's texture on it and shading and stuff. And then obviously the leather is very kind of realistic looking because they're trying to tie it in with the other figures. But I'd like to get one that looked like the comic book, like a white skull with So I'm up for that. Or a Danny Ketch, is it? I can never pronounce it right. Ketch. But the other Ghost Rider that we got, I'd like one of those ones. So I don't know. I always love a bit of Ghost Rider. So I got very excited when I saw that picture, and people started sharing it around the groups and stuff. And it might be nothing, might be absolutely nothing. But I think if I worked in that position, I'd be texting and tweeting out random pictures all the time. Look at this, it's a pigeon. Make what you want of it.
It's renowned, isn't it, that when you watch one of the Marvel streams, he will put things deliberately in his background to tell you what's coming next. It's all riddles. And
him and Ryan both do it now. If you're fair, they both have like a decent enough like setup. I mean, Ryan's setup is really in depth now, and there's like all little Easter eggs in there. But I think I'd be doing it if I was in a position like that, and there was enough people kind of following and waiting for me to reveal something. I would drop in little kind of Easter eggs or just real red herrings. You know, here is a red herring. Make what you want of it, like, you know. But yeah, I don't know. So, any other figure news from anyone?
There's nothing really happened this week. It's been so quiet.
In the custom Star Wars world, actually, there is quite a cool drop. So Pro Customs have joined forces with another customizer called Toy Weaver, and what they've done is vintage style, but they've done the basically all the different pilots from A New Hope. So they've done one wave, which has got 5 different pilots in it. So it's got, you know, your Wedge, Biggs, you know, got Gold Leader and stuff like that. And then the second wave is going to have Porkins in it, but also going to have the 2. It's going to have Dave Filoni's pilot character from Mandalorian. And the pre-order exclusive item that comes with that is his cowboy Stetson that he normally wears in person, just as like a cool little in-joke thing. But that's really cool. So like we're actually getting like loads of sort of vintage style pilots that we're probably missing from your old school collection. But that's quite an unusual thing. That's one that's already made, because Pro Customs were quite famous for making the droids and Ewok figures that they never made, like the unproduced Series 2 back that Kenner never got to make, and the White Witch is on the way. So they sort of think that Toy Weaver does very good sort of small batches of custom made figures like resin casts, stuff like that. Really talented guy. And they sort of joined forces, and they did do a Mando at one point, and now they sort of have combined, and now they're going to be doing this on a regular basis. But it's pretty bloody exciting.
That is cool. I've got a bit of 3 3/4 inch news actually. Look how much I've dived into it. So the next wave that's due out is obviously we had the Wolverine and Phoenix 2-pack that was a Pulse exclusive, and that's come out now. It's available on Pulse. But then you had the next wave as well, which included Venom, Falcon, Mr. Fantastic. Who is the other one? Can't even remember now. But it's the wave with Venom. It had Wolverine and Jean Grey, but in the alternative costumes. And that's not out yet, but they've been popping up on eBay in India or somewhere really random. They've been popping up on eBay, so people are kind of like, they're obviously about to drop because they've started showing up over here. So they should be dropping any minute now, and I'm very excited. It's for a line that I didn't collect
33 episodes in, and it's finally happened.
I am really excited for those. So no, but I'm doing like a photography. Steve set me off on that path with them pictures. And it's kind of put me in the frame of mind where I'm trying to do an individual photograph of each of the 3 3/4 inch figures. And I cracked open the Wolverine and Phoenix 2-pack because I have something very exciting. I'm really, really cool up and put together. So they're my next 2. But yeah, so that was about it for news from me. And the retro vintage callback 20-year anniversary Toy Biz Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, and Unknown. Captain America's already started shipping. I had my notification that mine's in the post. And a couple of other people over in the States have obviously done reviews already because they've picked those up. So the first of those figures are starting to land. So I think we should find out what the 4th one is any day now. But it's obvious what the 4th one's going to be. It's going to be a toad, and it's going to sell like hotcakes because everybody wants a toad. Yeah, there we go. That is it for toys, I think. Any other? No, I think that's it. I think that is it.
No, there was the there's nothing to speculate on, but a Yak Face put up that the next line of Black Series have all been given the code names, and they've started appearing on SKU lists in stores and things. But you can't get anything from it. They're all named like Los Angeles, Sacramento, Miami. They're all named after cities or states, whatever you want to have. And there's nothing really you can get from that.
No.
Something else is coming soon. Hopefully they'll do a Force Friday thing. Not Force Friday, a Fan First Thursday or whatever you want to call them. Yeah. And show us what it is.
Well, you mentioned Yak Face, actually, funny enough. Here's a random one for you. What do you get the Star Wars vintage collector who's got everything? How about a solid metal cast of vintage Yak Face?
What?
This is now my most favorite random collectible I have. It's not posable. Someone has made, and it weighs a ton. It's solid metal, and it's a cast of the vintage Yak Face figure. You know when you just see something, someone goes, "I'm selling this," and you go, "Yeah, all right,
I want it."
yeah." I don't know why. I don't know why it exists,
Oh,
but it's here.
Someone broke into your flat. Like, you could send them off with a yak face. That'd be a story, a lot of newsworthy story, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What was his self-defense weapon? It was a solid cast Yak Face from the last 17. But yeah,
you can imagine the news, can't you? Burglar, like, stopped, like, but fended off by homeowner using a metal yak face. Like, it's
glorious.
Can you imagine an indent on his head, like, where you've just like walloped him with a yak face, like
that.
His mugshot with yak face's kind of imprint. Oh dear.
Random.
That is cool, though. That is cool. That is very cool. All right, well, I think that's it for the week. So thanks very much for tuning in. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
Before we move on to the obvious Boba Fett talk, I did have to get a little bit excited today when these dropped in my post box. So this is the Comic Con that I'm going to, and there's my ugly little face right there. Yay!
Hey, you're in a flyer.
I'm on a flyer. I'm on a flyer. I'm on a flyer,
awesome.
and I'm on a flyer and a poster. So they're both up in my room right now. I'm incredibly proud of that.
That is awesome. That is awesome. It's YorkCon, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's York WinterCon on the 13th of February at York Racecourse. The day before Valentine's Day, come get your partner some geeky goodies this Valentine's Day is the tagline. Amazing. If anyone's down that way, if anyone's obviously York Central, or you want to travel up, then obviously do go along and check out Mr. Sorrell. He will be there in person. He's on the poster. He's on the poster. He's one of the guys. Who else is there, dude? So we've also got Peter Davison, who's obviously from Doctor Who. We've got Josh Herdman, who was one of the Slytherin henchmen from Harry Potter, who's now turned to a cage fighter, may I just add, and looks nothing like he did back then.
He's like hench,
he's like hench now, and he's got something like 200,000 followers. So I'm like, yeah, I'll leave you alone. And then then Guy Henry, who was the gentleman who they used as Peter Cushing's stand-in for Star Wars.
Nice,
scraping the barrel for guests there.
He was also young Tarkin, wasn't he? Actually, if I remember correctly, in Revenge of the Sith.
Do you know, I have to laugh because, like, the other time I was there, and there was a guy, and I'm talking to him, and his voice, and I'm like, "Dude," I said, "I'm really sorry," and I said, "I really do, I really do. I'm sorry for saying this. What have you been in?" And he sort of looked at me and smiled and he just went, "Tell that to Kanja Club," and I'm like, "Oh my freaking god!" It was the guy from Star Wars that comes into the ship on Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's the Scottish guy. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, but then as he walks away, I'm like, oh my God, is that the only thing he's ever done? He's like going around the Comic Con now, just shouting Kanja Club at people.
I must admit, like, not for this guy particularly, but the Star Wars kind of cameos, they seem to be like anybody that's had anything to do with Star Wars try to flog it as a living. Does that make sense? And I'm not like, I've seen some very questionable like appearances at cons, and it's like, who are you? Oh, I was third stormtrooper on the left that came in on this film, and it's like, were you? were you? Could I pretend that I was one of them? But yeah, it's there are some great Star Wars guests there, and that'd be a lot of fun. I mean, YorkCon sounds like I wish I was a bit closer. So definitely.
To be fair, YorkCon is probably one of my favorites to do. York and Sheffield are the two best around that they do. Sheffield's in the Magna Museum, which is an old steel mill. So it's just massive inside, and it's just a great venue to host something because like all the cosplayers, it's all steelworks in there. So it looks like Star Wars. There was a guy that went up top in this rafter thing. He climbed right to the top of this thing, and he had someone take a photo of him in like a bird's nest style, like pose up in rafters in this steel mill, and it just perfect shot.
That's awesome.
There's like some great places to like for the cosplayers and stuff. And then York Racecourse, it's just a giant open, obviously the racecourse area. Then they've got the big indoor thing with all the bars and stuff. It's just a great venue to do it in.
Yeah, no, that's wicked. No, I wish there was a bigger one nearer here. Like we're in desperate need of a bigger one. I'm pretty
lucky. I'm pretty lucky being from Leeds. Obviously, I'm slap bang in the center of the country. So I mean, I can travel south or north, and there's some great conventions.
So we need to get one down here that you can come to, so we can entice you, and then we can do a live episode.
Well, me and Jake were saying like the other year, like it'd be cool to meet up at like one of the like London Comic Cons if we can ever like tie that together or something. That'd be amazing. Yeah. Or obviously like one of the toy fairs next year, maybe or something.
Yeah, that sounds like a definite.
Toy
We'll
Fair's a
definitely do
definite
that.
one. Yeah.
Geek Week in Review appearing somewhere soon at some point.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Toy
So let's
Fair
get on.
is set up so that we can even record as well. We can do like a live, film one of these episodes sort of thing with the toys and things. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, Toy Fairs are definite, I think, going forward. 100%. So let's move on. Let's talk about the thing that we're going to obviously dive deep into. Which is, of course,
if I could start off, if you don't mind.
Go on then.
There I was about to have my weekly dose of Boba Fett. But then here's the weird thing. I got to the prize at the bottom of the box, and it turned out there was a Mando in it.
Ah!
Hey! You know when people go, "Why did you keep that box?" That is why I kept that box.
All that has made me really reminiscent for is prizes in cereal. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to that?
Kids will never know. They'll never know.
I remember eating a certain cereal, despite I didn't care how it tasted because I wanted the certain toys or I wanted the certain collection that was in there. Whereas nowadays, kids are like, kind of, "I'll try these cereal." I don't want them. And it's like, yeah, but if there was
a stupid little monster wrestler in my pocket at the bottom of them Frosties, you'd eat a whole box of Frosties just to get that stupid little plastic figure.
Question: did you open the box, get the toy out, and then eat the cereal? Or did you
my mum wouldn't let me. My mum would not let me. She would wait until it landed in the bowl.
Yeah, I was always told that because I had brother and sister, and we're all kind of similar age, and I was always told that whoever's bowl the toy comes out in is who gets the toy. Yeah. So I would always make sure that I'd lift the bag up, ruffle it around, see where the toy is, move it up to the top, put the bag back in. Anyone want some cereal? Like, oh, the toy's come out of mine again. So yeah, I was the same.
I just had like the world's biggest bowl of cereal, and when someone goes, "Ryan, that's a salad bowl," I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm about, son.
Next bowl. I got the toy. Yeah, no, but it's a shame. It's a shame, health and safety or whatever. But yeah, but Book of Boba Fett.
Book of
Mandalorian. Yeah.
It was definitely like it was definitely more of a Mando episode, wasn't it? Because there was no Boba Fett in it at all. Like, he didn't even show up, did he? It was
needed though. And again, they don't do these things for nothing. There's going to be a reason why we needed to catch up for the next chapter of what's going to happen in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But did you see this week that Star Wars put up on the YouTube channel? They put up a quick, catch up with Boba Fett with a few behind the scenes looks and things like that.
I didn't watch it. I saw something go up, but
Ming-Na Wen said it's been very cool to be a part of season 1 of the Book of Boba Fett. She said season 1, which to me indicates that which to me is just like a little hint of there's more than one of this.
Otherwise you would just say I'm being part of the Book of Boba Fett rather than
she said that, and it's like you don't say season 1 of if you're not expecting multiples.
Screwed up, didn't she? She put on Twitter, congratulations about the Bo-Katan series to Katie Sackhoff. She was like, "Oh, congratulations, about your Bo-Katan series 1."
Oh, I did not see that.
Got deleted very, very promptly after that. But
I know that
I've got a feeling we're getting a Bo-Katan series. So.
Yeah, I think they're going to do what they've done with Boba Fett, where they've kind of done this thing where we've got the story of Boba caught up to where he's at, and now we've crossed over to Mandalorian and we're getting a bit more Mando. I think rather than constantly call it Mandalorian season 2, Mandalorian season 3, I think they're going to go through the characters it's going to be we're going to get Bo-Katan next. We're going to catch up on what Bo-Katan's been up to since Mandalorian. Then there's going to be some crossover episodes with Boba and Mando, and I think that'd be a good way of doing it to keep the story moving forward, but through different characters' perceptions. Otherwise, it could get very stale very quick, just being all about Mando all the time.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a Mando mini war, a civil war thing going on, because we're going to have obviously the elitists and the modern, and that's the thing, because you're going to have the Jon Favreau and the Forger, the Armorer. The Armorer, that was it. Sorry, they're going to obviously recruit a few, people, I reckon, and it's going to be them versus Bo-Katan's people, because obviously they're from the 2 different ideologies from Mandalore. So I think that's what we're gearing up towards, and it will take place on the burnt surface of Mandalore.
See, I'm
heartbreaking.
See, I'm going to stick with my theory of the fact that I think now from watching it, we're going to see the Armorer and Vizsla. We're going to see them 2 meet up with Boba because Mando sent them. Well, he's going to find Grogu. I think we're going to separate the team a little bit for a while, and I think we're going to have Mando off doing his thing with Baby Yoda, and then we're going to have Vizsla and the Armorer who are going to go see Boba Fett and help him. And I've got a feeling that they're going to learn more about Boba, realize he's not a true Mandalorian, and she's going to fix up his armor and basically make him take the creed. And then obviously he'll be a true Mandalorian then. I think that'd be a way, because I said at the beginning, I think they're going to do something where they make Boba Fett an official Mandalorian in this, just to tie up his legacy nicely. And that'd be a good way of doing it, because she's very much all a part of, this is the way. If she can instill that in Boba Fett as well, that'd be awesome. If he could even then stand against Mando, you know what I mean? At some point, that'd be amazing.
I go the complete opposite. I don't think we're going to see the Armorer or Vizsla anymore this season.
Yeah.
I think that's for the next Mandalorian based, or whether that be Bo-Katan series, the next Mando season, or Book of Boba season 2. I think this was just to establish who they are, what they believe in, and that Mando is not affiliated with them anymore. I think that's why they were in that episode. So I think they're sort of, that was a lovely surprise. I think it was just that. It was just to go, they're still alive, they don't like Mando anymore, and they know about the Darksaber. So I think they're just setting up those things, going, they don't like Bo-Katan, they know about the Darksaber. That's just setting up them being anti-Bo-Katan for this mysterious series that was just announced but not announced. So I think that was more of a case of setting seeds for the future series, and also just going, this is why Mando is not ruling the Mandalorians or whatever, because he's been disavowed by this group. No one knows the other group are, and he's just all about him and his little Baby Yoda. So that's what it's gonna be, I reckon. So that's
I'm kind of on board with that, Ryan. I think the armor and the heavy Mando was just because of what we've got coming, and it was setting up so that I don't know. I just think it would jar for me. It would jar to see them then great as it would be to see them do that for Boba Fett. I can't imagine that they're going to, now that they've had that, because obviously he was challenged, wasn't he? And he won, and they basically went, "Well, you're not part of our club, so get out." Like it was like, and that's how it was. Like, you can't play with my ball anymore. Get out. Like that's how it felt.
The thing is, Sabine Wren took her helmet off, so she can't be a part of them either. So she's going to be like on the side of the other guys, Bo-Katan and stuff. So I mean, it's going to be very interesting. There's nobody on their side that is of any note, if that makes sense. Like all the main characters who take their helmets off are all in like the other team. So are we basically just going to wipe these guys out?
Because they'll just have some other helmeted Mandos, I reckon. Because that's the thing. As Star Wars, we sort of expect now that every character who has an on-screen appearance has to have a backstory, has to be connected to something. Where actually, sometimes you can just have grunts. I mean, look at Jabba's sail barge. After a while, they were Nikto 1, Nikto 2, Nikto 3. Nikto with tan pants. But a solid silver yak face. They were all those kind of weird background characters. So I reckon.
Look at Boba Fett though. Boba Fett was a background character. Like it's essentially at the beginning, he was just one of the bounty hunters, wasn't he? Like the proof's there. Like how you don't need to have a huge backstory bringing him in. Like I completely agree with you. And as well, if you think back to like the Clone Wars, how many Mandalorians were there? There was like hundreds of them. Do you know what I mean? There was all like, I really like, what was the name of the Darth Maul ones with the horns on their head and that? What were they called?
Oh, they were the not Death Watch. I can't remember what they called. It was the Elite Guard thing, weren't they? They were his.
But the red ones that had they stuck horns on their.
Yeah,
I thought
they were Maul's ones. Yeah.
But that's what I mean, is that you got branches of all these different types of Mandalorians throughout Clone Wars and stuff. Like it'd be very easy for them to, if Mando turned up with like a little gang, was like, "Hey, this is my gang," no one would question it. Everyone would be like, "Okay, cool." It's like he's got a
Jodo Cast. Does that name mean anything to you, either of you? Jodo Cast.
It sounds like it should.
Well, so Jodo Cast, right, was. Let's take you on another tale. I'm going to be teleprompter ready. So Jodo Cast was originally introduced in the 90s. Jodo Cast was a comic book character, and the idea was he's basically Boba Fett, but with instead of the red, he's got like a yellow bit on his visor. And the idea was he was a subpar bounty hunter that used to sort of pass himself off as Boba Fett because he'd get paid more in all those kind of jobs. And there was this whole reputation thing. He was involved with Dengar. Boba Fett eventually in the comics catches up and kills him. He was even an unlockable character on the PS1, the very short-lived and averagely, at best, received fighting. They had a VS fighting game on the PS1 called Star Wars Masters of Terracase.
I remember that.
Sorry, which is even mentioned in Solo. Weirdly, they made it canon, or weird thing to bring up. But yeah, the alternate costume for one of the unlockable characters was Boba Fett, was Jodo Cast. This is the thing. So it's sort of one of those things. He had a figure made as well. So I would love to see Jodo Cast, like this weird sort of bounty hunter from canon. That's just sort of. I wouldn't even want him to have like be named. I just want him to be in the background, like just one of the gunts. Like it's just literally just Jodo Cast, and be like, hey, I reckon that's Jodo Cast, and then that'd be fine for me.
You mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Is that I have not seen that meme used more than I have in Boba Fett. Like it's. But on that note, what was some of the other things? Like for me, the big thing for me was the BD droid. Like seeing the little.
I so thought like, Cal Kestis was going to be.
I know. As soon as he appeared, I was like, I sat there like, please.
But is it his droid or is it just one of those? Like, is it BD1 or is it?
I think it's just another model. I think it's just another one.
But do you not think it's very bizarre that it shows up now after we just talked about Cal Kestis coming into live action? And
the annoying thing is on Boba Fett, it is the same color scheme, and she calls it BD just like he does. She calls it BD. She doesn't call it BD1. She does call it BD, and it's got the same color scheme from the video game. It's got the red and white. So either they're all that color and they all go by a similar name, but I don't know. It seemed very coincidental that little droid suddenly reappeared.
It was a real kind of, if you know kind of moment, wasn't it? That like it was cool to see it in live action, I must admit. And we haven't before, have we? It's not shown up anywhere else.
No, just the video game. Just the video game.
Yeah. It's because I was like, and I'm not an expert on where the droids have shown up and that, but for me, I was like, oh, there he is. Like that's cool.
Can you believe they've not turned that into a toy yet? Can someone just go and just tell Star Wars to go and make that, please? I want one.
Well, that was the other thing I was thinking is you think of places like Galaxy's Edge, they've got like the droid factory, and I thought you've got the droid factory, and then this droid that's become incredibly popular is only available in the game, and then you drop him into the live action in ways like this that it's just here's this droid. It's got no link to anything that you'll get. It's surely it's an easy one to reproduce. Like it's
going to be on there. It's a couple of years tops because you got Fallen Order 2 coming out soon. So you like you said, they've dropped him in the live action. They've got him. So they're starting to expose the droid model to different audiences. It will be in the parks in 2 years. That's a Speaks Geek premonition.
It's a shame about the timeline as well, because I just thought how fitting would like the beginning of the game Cal Kestis look in that series, like with the poncho and the orange kind of overalls. Like you could see him walking down the street, couldn't you? Like it would fit in that kind of, not to do the story obviously, but the aesthetics of him would fit very nicely in there. Yeah, I don't know. We can hope.
Well, I'll tell you what, if having replica droids is your thing, do you know you can very easily get pretty much a replica droid from Mandalorian right here in the UK for a very, very reasonable price? If you head down to Wilkinson's and get yourself the extra slim water butt, that is actually the body of one of the droids. And I can send a picture. Maybe Jay, you can splice it in or something. But it is actually confirmed that one of the water butts that you can buy extra tall and slim from Wilkinson's was actually the droid in one of the background shots of Mandalorian. They literally just put feet on it. That's all they've done.
So there's like a whole group of people that are just employed to go to hardware shops, just buy random shaped things and whack some feet on it. We got
my friend's other half, my friend Dave, who I speak about quite a lot on the show, his other half, Amy, had spotted it because she's got one. And she was like,
I can't whistle, I'm laughing.
That's my main thing. I'm just gonna do that now. Whenever we spot something, I'll be like, But yeah, she spotted it and was like, looked it all up, and it's legit. There it is. It's so you can
That's
own a droid of
incredible.
your very own by heading down to Wilkinson's.
That's incredible. So what else was there in the episode? Because it was all very Mando, wasn't it? Let's try.
Everyone who's been struggling to sell a Naboo Starfighter toy has just sold theirs overnight. Let's be honest about that.
You guys, I don't think you guys are in my Star Wars group on Facebook. I think Jacob might be. I'm not sure. But my mate. Oh,
you got to add me in.
My mate Richard is such a funny guy, and he didn't think, and he watched that episode at like 7 a.m. when it dropped, and then he put a picture of his Mandalorian in the 3-inch yellow thing, in the 3-inch yellow starfighter, and he took a picture of it and put it on the group and just put Wizard, it's working. I'm like, you dickhead.
Also, they brought back Wizard. Why did they bring back Wizard? That's one of the only things. Yeah.
It was just pure nostalgia, that wasn't it? Come on, the whole episode was nostalgic to your childhood.
Wizard. Well, yeah, because even like the no one ever fixed the barriers on the Boon to Eve race. They're still smashed on the service rail. Yeah. Also, I totally called it. I said to Caroline, like, we were watching the episode, and I was like, when you just realize you've definitely become a certain level of nerd. Like, and believe it or not, this background wasn't what it was, but a certain level of nerd was when I realized, I was like, that pole that you just picked up, I'm pretty sure that's the pole that they use in A New Hope to try and keep the trash compactor from crushing. And sure enough, it is exactly the pole that they use in A New Hope it's got like some weird like knobbly bits in it, and he picks up as like some kind of converter or whatever. But it's what they try and use to prop up the trash compactor. I was just like,
what? And it's supposed to be the actual pole that.
No. Oh, yeah, it's just not got its own character. It's not actually technically a droid or anything. It's in like it.
Black Series, the pole.
Yeah. The next HasLab project, life-size pole. Be better than the Rancor.
Oh, too soon.
Too soon. But yeah, it actually is. It's little details like that show you that like it's sort of a big universe thing, because it's obviously an everyday item. I guess it'd be like us having a kettle and then seeing a kettle at the tip. We saw that giant pole thing at the trash compactor. Actually, he's using it to fix his ship. It's like it just makes the whole universe sort of weave in. Some people just go, "Oh, that's just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake." But actually, if you think about it, it's very clever. It fits into that George Lucas vision of sort of lived in space. Because it's not all shiny and white. Everything's broken and whatever. And used. So here you've got them using the same items that you're seeing laying around in earlier films and TV series. So now they just become everyday objects, and that's what's really awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree. I am.
The woman that plays that lady that fixes the ship. It took me ages to realize it's the woman from Elf that plays the receptionist in the book show, in the book thing. Yeah, it took me ages to realize that is her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, wow. She looks completely different in Star Wars thing. And I had to laugh when she said about Jawas. She dated one for a while. That weird face, that cracked me up for about 10 minutes. The kind of furry.
I think that's what, like, how they do it. Like they literally splice the humor and the seriousness. Like, and this particular episode showed it perfectly. Like, with that joke about the Jawas, and then straight away the Mandalorian, the way he's talking and stuff, and the way that they just go side by side but work so well. It doesn't jar, and it's just so enjoyable. You can tell that it's written by genuine fans, that people that genuinely care about this franchise. But yeah, there's just so, I mean, I was sold when we saw him with the Darksaber, like that whole bit where he goes to collect the bounty and he hacks up all the I don't know what them aliens are called, but the pig dog looking things.
I think they're Barada, the species. Okay. No, Clatoonian, sorry, Clatoonian.
It's some kind of like alien. I'm being alienist or something by just going them dog-faced pig people. But just that scene for me was like, you know what, you could do very little with the episode now, and that's given me enough that I was happy. But it just gave and gave and gave, and it all the way right up until the end. But yeah, I mean that's obviously that ship, that's going to be his new mode of transport. Do you think he's going to stick with it, or do you think it's going to?
He's even got a little pod for Grogu at back, hasn't he? Let's be honest, that is what's going to happen with that.
That's happening. So it was just cool.
Like I called the other week, they've got to somehow. I don't know what's going to happen, But I think we're going to get a scene where maybe Mando learns to use the saber. Because at the moment, he can't use the saber. It's heavy and he's fighting against it. And that woman can't really teach him how to use a saber. She's not a Jedi. So he's going to see Grogu, and Grogu's with Luke. Do we not think Luke's going to teach him how to use it a little bit, maybe, before he takes Grogu away?
I don't think we're going to see Luke again.
Do you not?
No. I think if we do, it won't be in the way that we did. I think it will be a cloaked figure at the back kind of going like, go with him or something like it. It won't be another Mark Hamill kind of big.
Because I was thinking either because Ahsoka's off doing her thing trying to find Ezra now, so it's not going to be her. She's gone. So I'm thinking who else could teach him to use a lightsaber that's still around?
Kyle Katarn.
Cal Kestis. No, yeah. I think if anything, it's going to be Grogu.
What, teaching him how to use the saber?
I think not so much teaching him how to use the saber, but just more kind of in a way that he helps channel the Force a little bit, and like some kind of, because they've got that relationship, haven't they? And what?
Have you seen Ratatouille?
Yeah, he'll be in his helmet.
Grogu on the helmet, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the best Jedi ever.
Like the week when I sort of said, like, we've got to take Grogu out of that situation with Luke, otherwise he is going to die. We know that Kylo Ren kills all the younglings, doesn't he? Same as what Darth Vader did.
Yeah, but would Grogu be a youngling at that point?
Yeah, he's still a baby.
Is he a youngling now at 50? He's 50 years old.
That's what I mean. But he lives to be 800. That's nothing to his race. He's practically a toddler.
Yeah, I still think the end of Grogu and Mando will actually just be them two going off into the galaxy together. That's I genuinely think. I don't think there'll be some big sacrificing thing, or I genuinely think,
mate, we're gonna
just be a clan of two that go off into the.
You'll see the Naboo ship kind of going up over the hill with like the three suns, and them two just high-fiving, silhouette of them high-fiving as they disappear behind a sand dune. No, that's it. Like,
and a sweet 80s synth jam comes on,
and then like a handwritten "The End?" question mark.
Hopefully we're still going to be doing this in 20 years, and we're gonna see the resurgence of Star Wars a fourth time, and it's gonna be Rey as an older woman, and all of a sudden we're gonna hear, "I've been around for lots of years, have I?" It's gonna be Grogu now,
as an old man.
It's gonna be Grogu grown up.
Can you imagine? Go by Groda now.
Yeah,
he's like seriously jacked, like proper, like them kangaroo, them muscly kangaroos you see. It'll be like, imagine that as a Grogu. It's just smooth fuzz, but yeah, it's but no,
Jedi, are you?
In all fairness, though,
in all jokes aside, I don't think Grogu's going to have a saber. I don't think he's going to have a lightsaber. I don't think he's not going to become a Jedi in that respect. I think he's obviously sensitive to the Force. He's going to go with Luke. He's going to learn how to use the Force as such, and he's going to come back a more formidable character than he went away. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Force say that, but he won't just kind of be in the way when it comes to battle scenes. He'll have his own little way of doing stuff, and I think that's going to be the way that he teaches Mando to use it. So it's kind of like an arc, like Mando could have got rid of him, but he saved him and he rescued him. He got him to the place, and now because he did that, it comes sort of full circle, and he's the key to him using the Darksaber correctly in that, because it was a Jedi Mandalorian, wasn't it? That Jedi Mandalorian cross that created the Darksaber and that. So yeah. I just want to know what the spear got turned into. To be honest, it's going to be some kind of chainmail. But can you imagine a little Jedi Grogu in Beskar chainmail? Like, he's just going to be. It's just either going to be absolutely amazing or ridiculous.
I don't think we'll see it. I've got a feeling it's going to be under the cloak, like under his, just something to wear under his Jedi robes that would stop a lightsaber penetrating him.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean. I think it's going to be like under the cloak. I don't think we'll ever see it.
I think it would look ridiculous. I thought it would have been really funny if it was just a Beskar ball that looked like the ball, the one he kept trying to steal from the ship. I thought it'd be really funny if it would just turn out to be a Beskar ball.
The thing that gets me though,
he just turns into Magneto, throwing a ball around.
No, just because he's like, he liked the ball. Yeah, have another ball.
This is Star Wars, and I can get behind the ridiculousness of so much of it. But part of me was going, that spear is big. Like it was like on his back, it's up to here sort of thing, and it's thick as well because he fights with it and stuff. And she melts it all down, and Grogu's not big.
No.
And you saw how small those little ringlets were. Like, how big is this shirt? Can you imagine? That's just literally like
I imagine
that
he
comes out in a full like, armor
for the future.
Like, yeah, she didn't give him all of that. Let's be honest. She was like, "Oh, I'm going to melt this down. What do you want to make? I'll make something for Grogu. Well, it's easy. Just take this little bit here. Like, yeah, give him a vest. Like,
just the tip. And then just the tip.
Yeah. So, but no, I thought that.
Then the other two rock up next season with brand new armors, like, hey, look what we made.
Yeah,
thanks for the spear.
Probably not a million miles away from it.
No. But no, I enjoyed it as an episode. I really did. It was full of little Easter eggs, full of little nods. I was a bit disappointed we didn't see anything of Boba Fett. It would have been nice, even just like an after credit scene or a 5 minutes before the end, just to kind of bring it back in. I know obviously we saw Fennec Shand, but I would have liked to have seen more of Boba
wholeheartedly
in that
agree.
episode. It was almost a little bit kind of what I was saying before about how it was like a bit of a cheap shot of here's our cash cow and we're just going to push that out to you. I know it all made sense, and in the long run it's going to make sense, but I would have liked just that little bit of Boba to kind of go, okay, we're still here, we're on this one.
I think even if just it was like Fennec held out a hologram pad and a tiny Boba in hologram came was like, I need your help or something like that. I don't know. Help me, Obi-Wan Commando. I need your my only hope.
What would have been really cool?
Why is it? Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say, what would have been really cool is if he had melted that spear down and made Boba some new armor. Can you imagine how cool that would have been? Like if he had rocked up to Jabba's palace with here's a shiny new helmet. How much merchandise would they have been able to make with the new Boba helmet? Like
I've been saying from the beginning, I reckon by the end of it, that's why I say I think if the armorer showed up, I think it would be like to repair Boba Fett's armor and get rid of the dink in the helmet and all the little. It's not been fixed since his father owned it, really.
Oh, I know.
It could be cool to like officially.
What was you going to say before?
I was going to say, why is it every time you do Tamura, what's he called? His voice. How come every time you do it, it's still got an English twang? You go for the accent and it still sounds British.
I think it's because, and this is going to blow your mind, I am British.
It's just, you sort of get the pitch right, and you get it almost there, and then it's suddenly like London.
Because I don't know. I think it'd almost be if I tried it too much, I almost feel like I might offend someone by going to Maui with it. I don't know.
Maori.
Maybe too Maori with it. Like because the problem is, I knew him mainly as from Once We Were Warriors.
Yeah.
Which was him just going like, oh, get into the kitchen and cook me some fucking eggs, bro. It's like just that kind of really aggressive sort of thing. And now he's like a man, like he's Boba and probably going to be Rex and stuff. But yeah, I think it's because the gruffness always just tickles me. Because I mean, weirdly, it sounded like that Carrie Fisher towards her end of her life had been a Mandalorian for a while. Yeah, but
rest that soul.
Yeah, got to rest the soul. But it was like, Han, where have you been? But like, I always think it just sounds a bit like, bless her, she sounded a bit like Little Nicky from that Adam Sandler film.
Did nobody else? I love both. I love Leia and Han, but do you not think in episode 7 they both needed goddamn subtitles when they were speaking together?
Yeah.
He just mumbled and she's going out of the corner of her mouth like,
Han, where have you been? I've been trying to find our kids, Sailor. I've been out here with Chewie and I didn't know what's going on. But Han, you could have called out now. No, I'm serious. Wait, what did you say? Oh, what did you say? Like, there we go. Episode 7 revisited.
That is it. But no, I would like to. I liken Boba Fett's armor to like imagine if your dad had a really nice sports car that he drove around in, that he, done all his jobs in, like he used this car a lot, and then you inherited it from him when you were very young, and you were still driving it around in your like 40s, 50s. Like that car would be done. Like and I say car because like the outer shell and everything, but it would be a rust bug. Like he must look like well cheap. Because how can he sit on a throne and rule when he's got this armor that's like really old and really beat up? Like you would think that he would have updated it at some point.
To be fair, he's only got outbling a slug.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But I don't know. I'd like to see him, and even from a merchandise point of view, for them to revamp Boba Fett. And I know a lot of fans would kind of be like that, you can't do that or whatever, but just, I don't know, just even if they gave him new armor and you saw it all like Beskar and shiny, like, and then it was colored so that it's the same armor, but it's just, we know that it's new underneath the paint, if that makes sense. They just, I don't know, that's
give
just
him like a hood ornament for a helmet, you know, like
just
like that,
metal,
you know,
yeah. There you go, that is it.
It's a hood ornament.
Book
Or
of
do you know
Boba
what would be
Fett,
really
there you
funny if Mandalorian was like with the Beskar armor and just had a pair of Beskar ears, like Yoda ears on his helmet.
Yeah, like Mr. Potato ears, like the
Yeah.
great big,
Yeah, the
just
big ones,
pop
like,
in, like, you know.
but like Grogu style. Now we're the same.
No, but I am being genuine serious though. Like to see him get some new armor, and they could paint it so that it would look exactly the same. So then, you know, he's still in the same colors and everything, and he would still look the same as he did. But then you would just know that he's had an upgrade, because surely that armor, you know, is seen like it was in the Sarlacc pit, for God's sake. Like it's taken a beating.
But it was his father's armor.
Yeah, I know, but come on. It's, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'd be up for that, but then I know a lot of fans would hate it, absolutely hate it. So
yeah, because Star Wars fans normally are really, really kind of open to change and progression. So that'll be really good.
Yeah,
I am looking forward to when we start seeing the brand new Attack of the Clones merch, and we start hearing from those people that say Attack of the Clones was always my favorite movie. I'm
you
waiting
know that.
for it. It's coming. I'm
Same
waiting for
people who said about Andrew Garfield.
Oh, you know that.
You
know that. You know that's going to happen.
I stuck by the prequels, like since day one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
love
them. Me and Jacob had this discussion a while back, like. And yeah, they were my Star Wars growing up. I was of that era where I went to see Phantom Menace when I was what, about 7, 8?
Yeah.
So I mean,
9.
that was my Star Wars.
I wanted to be Anakin Skywalker because I wanted to drive a pod racer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We grew up more or less with Anakin. Anakin and that was our hero Jedi. He was our Luke growing up.
Yeah.
Just see that transformation to the Darth Vader. You knew it was coming from the beginning, but it was just that cycle, that storyline.
Yeah, I think they were brilliant. And at the end of the day, we wouldn't have the Star Wars we got now if they weren't good. Like people can say that they're rubbish, but we wouldn't be where we are now. You wouldn't have an Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming out this year if it wasn't for those films.
Yep.
There's no denying that series, and everyone's so hyped up about that series. So, you know.
Plus, also, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be that guy. The original trilogy isn't flawless.
Oh no, not at all.
A million years.
I mean, let's face it, the whole film we've established is the whole saga could have stopped if it wasn't for a really lazy gunner on the Star Destroyer. You know, in the escape pod. Is there anything in it? Nah, just let it go. Are we looking for some?
That would have been me. I'm not going to lie. That is 100% me.
Some plans.
I'll just be
there
like,
wouldn't be any life signs. Nah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Are you doing your work? Yeah, I'm doing my work. Are you? That's not your work.
They were too busy doing action figure reviews in the background.
No, but in all fairness, there's so many flaws.
They're reviewing.
Aren't they? Hang on. I'm gonna have to really get my facts right here. But don't they harvest water on a desert planet with like 2 suns?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that to me, if someone came into us, if I was a film producer and someone go, I've got this really good film, and they harvest ice on a lava planet, and that's the kind of backstory. Yeah, like, we need to rewrite this. We need to think, is it realistic enough? You know,
I love it. Let's do it.
It had some amazing things, like the visual of FX and the you know, the model making and that kind of stuff. Like, it was fantastic and it was cutting edge, and that's obviously why it became what it was. But there were definitely flaws there. Definitely flaws. Like, it's even the incest. Let's go there. Like, even the ancestral element of it is kind of like, come on. If you were, you know, if they broke that into Harry Potter, like, people wouldn't have got behind it. Let's be honest. People would have boycotted Harry Potter if he fell in love with his sister. Like, they would have.
Back to the Future still a very popular film.
Okay, yeah, but that's different. That's his mum. And she was hot. Like,
that's where we draw the line. It's different because it was his mum. There we go. Geek Week in Review. Thank you for watching, everyone. There we go. Jacob's Toys. It's okay when it's your mum.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. Mums are there. But
one thing.
It's,
I'll say just to bring it back in.
save it, please.
One of the One of the things to take away from this week's episode, though, we have a new savior in the galaxy, Bryce Dallas Howard. She did a good job with that episode.
She did. Now I'm gonna jump in on that one because I absolutely love her direction, but I think there's a really weird thing with fans where, like, I don't know if you've seen this, but there have been like so many news articles going like, "Oh, the fans are demanding that Bryce Dallas Howard directs, a new Star Wars trilogy." But it's just, this is one thing I'm starting to get a bit annoyed about in like just the world in general. You know what really grinds my gears? It's this weird thing, like someone does something good and like you can't just go, "That was brilliant." Everyone's got to be like, "Oh, she's the savior of it," blah blah blah. Like actually, a lot of people have been doing a lot of really good work as well, and like directing is one part of it, but also like the other episodes have also been good. Or like Mandalorian, like we didn't pick one person and go like, "Oh, Taika Waititi has completely saved the Star Wars universe," or "Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard has murdered Ryan Johnson in his sleep." None of that kind of stuff. It's just. It's a weird.
But the thing is,
hero worship thing. It's odd.
But named people, guest directing and stuff like that. That's not a new thing. Like people have been doing that for years with series. And whenever a guest director comes in or somebody different comes in, they always bring something a bit different to the series or to the television show, whatever it is that they're doing. And that's the fun of it. That's why that is such a popular thing to do. And I think she obviously knows her stuff. She knows her way around films and around TV and stuff like that. So she knows what works. And I think it was very clear and very obvious that she done a good job. But I'm not going to push her. I wouldn't want to push to get her to do anything else unless she wanted to, because that's part of the reason why it was so good, because it was something she wanted to do. So
well, she directed the Ahsoka episodes, the Bo-Katan episodes of Mandalorian. She was in charge of them, so I've got a feeling she might be the person that probably ends up. That new TV series we were talking about that's not come out yet.
The one that definitely isn't happening.
The one that definitely isn't happening.
Nobody's tweeted about.
I wonder whether she's going to be the one that helms that one, because she's obviously wrote those characters like into those episodes and things like that with obviously with Jon Favreau and stuff and the other guys, but. I think they'll probably work together as a team. I wonder if she'll be the one that will direct that. But she is busy with Disney because she's also making the Flight of the Navigator movie. Remake.
Oh,
really?
I don't know how I feel about that.
She's in charge of that for Disney Plus. And may I just say, I'm
classic.
I've got to say, I'm very upset. Sarah Jessica Parker's building it. So, I mean, she's not the best of actresses.
Hocus Pocus back in the day.
Yeah, but that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm not allowed to talk about Hocus Pocus, but
not because you love it.
Yes,
I
can't stand Sex and the City, so that's the limit of Sarah Jessica Parker I could probably part with is Hocus Pocus.
There are certain films. There are certain films for me that are like 80s nostalgic kind of films that definitely should not be remade. Back to the Future should not be touched.
No.
Labyrinth should not be touched. Flight of the Navigator should not be touched. These are the kind of never-ending story. Princess Bride, yes, all that kind of, they should not be touched. They should just be left as they are, as a piece of history. If you want to do something as an offshoot, like Dark Crystal, for example, don't try to redo Dark Crystal, but they made the TV series, they expanded it. Well, that's fine, but then it still leaves the original thing there. It's like Gremlins. I wouldn't want somebody to go back and revamp Gremlins. Do another Gremlins film, but don't try to revamp it. Don't try to redo it. And Flight of the Navigator, I don't know how I feel about it. Either. No, but they would, and that's why I'm curious about Flight of the Navigator, because that it is going to be a CGI amazing thing, but that's something that was so sort of genuine about that original film, and why it touched so many people, I think, is because there was that physical element of things, and I don't know, it's just don't do it.
Did you hear obviously that the remake? Well, it was originally slated as a remake, but they've since changed the mind a little bit. The redoing Zorro. You heard about that? Got that kid from, I say kid, he's a grown man now, from that 70s show who played Fez. I can never remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing Zorro. Recently, they've announced that they've approached Antonio Banderas about reprising his role. So, like in the first Mask of Zorro film, we obviously saw Antonio Banderas become Zorro, and it was handed down from Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. I wonder whether they're going to do the same with this one. I wonder if Antonio Banderas is going to pass Zorro down to this next kid, and that's how
that would work.
That film. I'd like that.
I'd be happy with that.
One for me that worked really well.
Films. That was
it would then take
favorite swashbuckling adventures.
Yeah, it would take away from it just being another remake, another Zorro. It's a continuation of the one we had in the 90s. And obviously, with all this whole thing with Spider-Man and bring back 90s characters, and I think they would definitely do it just as it's a continuation now. It's a world, you know what I mean? They'll do it that way, won't they?
But that's one franchise that worked really well for me is the Jumanji. And you know, make what you will of the new films. Some people absolutely hate them, but I really enjoy them for what they are. But
great fun.
I think they're fantastic, but they don't affect the original one. They don't. It's basically just a case of here's what it is, and then you see it warp into a computer game because it moves with the times, and then you've got this whole new sort of franchise. But it's saluting the original enough, but not trying to rewrite or trying to erase it. And I think that's what you got to do with these films. And Flight of the Navigator, they're not going to be able to do that because of the changes in special effects and CGI and that kind of stuff. And so I'm a bit worried that they're just going to kind of rewrite it and relaunch it. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up loving it, buying all the figures.
One of the problems of Prometheus, wasn't it? You know, because like the technology you had in Alien and then Prometheus being its prequel and Alien Covenant, some of the technology sort of still looked like it was, and some of it wasn't. It was sort of a weird mix, but they just couldn't resist putting in some like holographic projectors and stuff like that. And then actually look at Alien and Aliens, that's not the sort of tech they have. It's a bit of a jarring thing.
Yeah, but see, then, like for me, that had a real. Like, I think the story had a real potential to kind of go, but it just went off on one. But then look at things
still
like
quite enjoy them, but it's just the technology. I always almost see them as like not the prequels to it, just as a separate thing. It's Prometheus and Alien Covenant, awesome, and then the Alien.
Look at Predator and Predator 2, and then they did that Predators, didn't they? And Predators didn't do very well, but I loved it as a film and as an idea because it didn't affect the first two, and it just kind of expanded it. But then you look at some franchises like Terminator, for example, the story kind of works, you know, they've kind of, but the effects don't allow it to streamline. Like you can't look at T2, which was such a phenomenal film at the time. After watching Dark Fate, it looks out of date, and that's the shame of it. But
very confusing timelines as well now, because now there's 3 different timelines.
Oh, John Connor's dead. Oh yeah, okay, cool. So you're the new John Connor. Everyone save you. Like it's just no. And every time the Terminator gets more and more. Like I enjoyed Dark Fate. I'm not going to lie. I was just kind of
I enjoyed it.
I haven't enjoyed any of them. I'll be honest.
I love them all, and that's the thing is that the Terminator franchise, it works, but it doesn't work because of the change in technology. It's hard to you couldn't sit down with somebody that had never seen any of them and go, right, let's watch these, because they'd be like, well, and that's kind of where Star Wars is I think that's what the problem was with the prequels, is that they had such a jump in special effects and stuff that for a lot of people they're like, well, they don't marry up. But then look at things like RoboCop, where they tried to redo RoboCop, and that revamp or whatever it's called is just forgotten. Like people don't, because it just.
I still remember it.
Well, oh no, I still enjoyed it a little bit, but what I mean is that it's in. I want the figures, but I am.
Some of the figures.
What the new RoboCop? Did they actually do figures?
Yeah,
2014's RoboCop had a toy line.
That's embarrassing.
Small toy line,
but the point is that you look at that new RoboCop and you look at the old RoboCop, and RoboCop of the 80s, early 90s was such a. And I'm gonna unpopular opinion. RoboCop is a lame-looking character. Like he wasn't like he is though. Let's be honest. It was.
You're alive. You're coming with me.
But if you look at RoboCop next to the Terminator, and it was kind of like, oh, come on, mate. Like, what's better? Like,
have you read RoboCop versus Terminator?
No, I haven't read it.
Then your mind might be changed.
But I always saw it as a very lame looking, because he was very, and it was like, come on, you can't have a robot man or a RoboCop move like that when you've got other kind of android things like running and jumping, that kind of stuff, and then you've got him and his guns all slowly out.
Because he was like a tank. He's slow moving and powerful, like a tank. A tank's not fast. It stops and it goes with the turret, and then boom, and the whole building's gone.
Yeah, whatever. I always thought he was a bit lame looking, but then the 2014 one made him look cool. I thought he looked really cool, and it was kind of like this is
sporty.
Yeah, I was like, this is what I wanted RoboCop to look like, but the film was just not as good as the originals. But
You
then
know
again,
that it's coming back, and it's gonna. I think it's called like RoboCop Lives or something like that, or but like it's gonna be
RoboCop Legacy.
I think it's gonna be sort of actually. It's gonna be a direct sequel to the original one.
Oh jeez.
Okay.
I will.
But then speaking of direct
RoboCop.
sequels, though, I'm worried now about Avatar, because Avatar was so good but so old now compared to what we've got now.
Ridiculous amount of time.
Was it advanced enough at the time that it's going to work as a direct sequel, or are people going to look at it and go, "This is"?
Yeah, you are right. You are right, because of the technology thing. One of the things that made Avatar so big at the cinema was because that was the thing that launched 3D cinema at that point. But not things that are coming out of the screen 3D, but the
Whoa, Ryan, your hand just came out of me.
Whoa.
Whoa.
But it was about that depth perception 3D that I actually really liked in some films. I saw Doctor Strange in that 3D, and that looked mind blowing with all the effects. So that whole thing where it looks like it just goes on forever. So that was a big thing for Avatar. That was one of its big things, was that everyone was going to see it in 3D.
Yeah.
I mean, the slight plus it has now, the environmental message is weirdly a lot more relevant and a lot more sort of prevalent in news and people's minds now. So environmental message wise, because a lot of people thought the original one was a bit preachy, but actually it has a really good place in it now for that. However, I've got a feeling they're going to move away from that message, and they're just going to go, we've got 4 films in a row lined up. Action, action, action. And
the next film is the second film is all based underwater. You know that the second film is entirely underwater. It's about these Navi creatures that can breathe underwater and live underwater.
So it's like a whole different race.
Yeah, the next film is completely underwater apparently.
Cool. And then the next one's in a desert.
By your straws.
I'm really excited for the Titanic sequel. I'm not going to lie. That was
Jack's back.
You being serious for a second? Then I was like, what? Yeah.
No, it turns out that Rose was an alien.
They were going to make a full replica of the Titanic. There was a guy who was actually, look this up. This was an actual thing. One of these big billionaire investment companies, though, the idea was to make a modernized replica of the original Titanic, and just obviously sail it. And everyone was like, really?
No,
especially when
2020 happened.
Especially when 2020 happened, people were like, come on. Like, this is the same thing as like, if you discover a new ancient tomb, don't open it. Don't recreate the Titanic. Just no. Stop it.
Yeah. It just seems like a really lot. I've got more money than sense. Like, what do you want to do? Should we rebuild the Titanic?
It's like the billionaires equivalent of, we should buy a bar.
It is, isn't it? Oh, what do you want to do today? I don't know. Just like bought a planet. I bought should rebuild a boat. Yeah, okay. But it wasn't even that big compared to like cruise liners now. Like it wouldn't even be that big. Can you imagine them rebuilding and going, oh, it's
quite small.
That's quite small actually. But yeah, there was actually a sequel to Titanic. There was like a knockoff kind of crappy Titanic 2. There is actually a Titanic 2 film out there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I watched it. It's
it was that memorable that it's just.
It was awful. No, I forgot I watched it. Me and Caroline, when you see something on TV and you go, that can't be right, surely, and it's like 4 a.m. I recorded it. Just but here's the best bit. So this is the budget for it, for example, right? So it's meant to be this brand new ship. It's this maiden voyage, but the lift they use is very clearly just a warehouse lift that's got like scratch marks, worn paint, and like chewing gum on the walls. You're like, sorry, this is a brand new ship. This is it's literally been on the water for 5 weeks, and it's quite clearly a warehouse lift. And they're like, oh, it's the most luxurious liner in the world, but we only see what looks like hallways, one nice lobby area, and like never on top of that. And the CGI was awful. And there was a bit where like a guy fell through some ice, like at the beginning, it was like on the polar ice cap, something. He fell through some ice, but it was just like a still image of him that they just sort of dropped the picture. Yeah. Like
Wow.
our avatars at the beginning of the opening credits are a lot more convincingly lifelike than what this thing was. It just dropped. But yeah, it was awful. But when you're watching, you got Sky Plus.
Can't
You can
believe you
record
watched
anything, and you see Titanic 2. You go, it's like Sharknado. You go, I need to know what this is about. I need to see this. I need to see if this is real.
How did it
really
end?
happened.
Did it sink again? Did it hit an iceberg and sink?
No, the plot twist was it floated to space. No, it sunk. It full on sunk.
Oh.
It basically it was like Greece, the end of Greece, but with the Titanic. He's Sandy. I'm driving the boat.
So yeah, Book of Boba Fett was good. That was like. How many more episodes have we got? Two. Predictions?
Vintage one.
Oh, it's the vintage spaceship, not slave one.
Oh God! If I see one more fanboy online going, it's not a fire spray. No, the model of the ship is a fire spray. It's like if you give your car a name and call it Delilah, it's still a Ford Fiesta, but you've called it Delilah. So it's not a wrong thing to say.
Yeah. What are your predictions? Go on. What are you thinking? Who are we going to see next?
Rancor.
He's going to ride a Rancor. We know that. Yeah, I don't know. This episode has thrown me in regards to what I thought was going to happen because
me too.
It gave us a lot more to do with. I thought Mando was going to pop up as a but it wasn't.
You guys seem to have the opinion that the Vizsla and the Armorer are no longer talking to Mando, and they've like dismissed him. And I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's that deep, to be honest. Because I think I see her as more of his spiritual guide more than anything. Because he's still got the Darksaber at the end of the day. He's still their ruler. He's still their leader, technically, because they follow the Darksaber. So I mean, I think they are that
kind of into it, aren't they? That they wouldn't kind of go, "Oh, we're not going to follow it." Like,
I think she's full on kick him out.
Well, when she said about he's got to go smith something or do something, would the ship not be like he's just built a ship from scratch? Is that not technically?
It's got to go to the waters in the lowest mines of Mandalore, which have all been closed up in the big.
You've got to go to this place that doesn't exist anymore.
Basically, what you've got to do is when you're playing, it's basically Elder Scrolls, but for Mandalorian now. He's been given a quest by an NPC. He's now got to go and do that quest. Then he can come back to unlock the next level of being one of the club again. He can get into the guild again, and then
Because like we're saying this whole like, because we're sort of saying that he wants to go see Grogu. He said that in the final myth was he's got to do something first, but then he'll come out Boba. So I mean, I don't think we'll see him next episode. Now I think he's going to be off doing something, and we'll find out what that was in.
We'll see him in the final episode. How much money has he got as well, though? Because she's like, it's going to be worth a lot of credits. He's like, oh, I'll do it for free. I'll be back in a minute. He's like, come on, mate. Like, and what is the Armor and Heavy Mando doing? Like they're like the pair of them, it's a male and female, just locked away in a cave. Like they're not doing anything. Like, come on, let's be honest. There are going to be some younglings. Like, they're going to go back.
I'll tell you what they're not doing: taking off their helmets.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's might be a thing, but yeah, I don't know. You could be right there. I hadn't really thought about it like that. They are so much about their creed and all the rest of it that they would have to follow him with the Darksaber. But then that's if he even contacts him. He might contact someone else. We don't even know who he's going to meet when he goes and meets Grogu. He might come back with like a, Luke Skywalker.
Do we think we're just going to see him at the end? Where he's just going to fly in on the ship and save Boba by just shooting some stuff in his spaceship.
Going to do a Captain Marvel in Endgame, just
basically.
Yeah,
that is what we're going to
see. Do you think we're going to see the War of the Bounty Hunters in season 1 of this program? Because I don't personally. They keep saying like war is coming. I think it's going to be like one of these like winter's coming moments. I think that they could build this for a while and get more characters involved. To do like a random fight scene now, there's not been enough build for me to do anything with it. What's it going to be? No. BK, Mandalorian, Boba, Shand, and a couple of grunts and a biker squad versus an army of killers from some random bounty hunter thing. No, I don't see it. It's too cheap. Just for what? To fight over a desert.
It's against the what do you call it? The Pike Syndicate.
The Pikes, and then we wipe them out, and then they've got nothing else to do. Nah, I see them being the baddies for a while.
I tell you what, here we go. Here's my Here's my 10 cents I'm chucking in right now. So I reckon that we will see a fight with the Mandalorian and his Boba Fett and his sort of merry band of miscreants he's rounded up. I reckon he will semi-defeat the Pike Syndicate. However, I will think that they're actually in league with the Black Sun or the whatever they're called. You know, the Kira.
Yeah.
So I think that will be they're actually part of the crime syndicate, and I think that the end of Book of Boba Fett will be the fact that the Pike Syndicate, which weren't really that big a deal, were actually working for them. Crimson Dawn, that's it. Crimson Dawn. Working for Crimson Dawn, and then the last shot will be like Crimson Dawn basically turning up, being like,
"Oh yeah,
oh now you've done it," and then that's the lead into season 2.
Star Wars has always been the case of here's a big bad thing, got that big bad thing out of the way. Here's the actual big bad thing that's behind it. Get that. Here's the bigger bad thing. There's all it is. We're even in the in what is it, episode 1, isn't it? And there's always you have just quoted it, but it is. But that is, and I think that's what this is. I think the Pike Syndicate, like you say, they're gonna do whatever they do. There's gonna be a fight, but there's gonna be something bigger that, you know what, by knocking this out of the way, you've actually let this out.
Also, fish people. Why do you go to Tatooine? Fish people, you should not be on Tatooine. It's like the one place you don't want to be. It's like Iceman going to. I'm just gonna go buy a little, weekend getaway on Mustafar. Just hang out there.
No, don't go there. Don't go there.
Do you know? I would love to. Do you know? This whole program, I would love it if we didn't see the sort of fight, the big battle this season. This season could end with Boba Fett challenging Din Djarin for the Darksaber. That would be epic. Just the end with Boba Fett standing up and going, "I challenge you for the Darksaber," and just have that as the ending moment with Din Djarin just sort of like zooming in on his face, like, "I accept," and it just them two squares up. They're about to clash weapons, and it just ends.
I'm a little bit annoyed. I think his voice was better than my one. I don't like that. I'm the voice guy. That's
I do voices too.
Round 1, brilliant. Fight.
You're gonna go off on one. Just
He's no good to me dead.
No. Okay. All right. A little intimidating.
Right. Sorrow is flexing. He's flexing.
But you can't do end of life Carrie Fisher or broken soul Han Solo. So I still own those two.
But can you do Jar Jar Binks?
Do I want to do Jar Jar Binks? That's the bigger question. I think we should.
Everyone loves.
Everybody wants to do Jar Jar Binks, my friend. Jar Jar, man.
Jay, can that be the bit? Can that be the clip? Just out of context. Just have that, please.
Just have
nothing else. Nothing else. Just that.
Just have this. What episode are we? Week 32?
33.
33. So you go, guys, it's week 33. We're going to talk about Jedi. Yeah!
Oh, my God.
My daughter's going to wake up in a minute and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but we want views. We put by Jar Jar Binks. People are just not going to watch. Like, oh, yeah.
See, Jar Jar Binks was hated years ago. He's beloved now.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? How it's gone full circle.
I've got a pretty much borderline life-size Jar Jar Binks in my parents' loft still. One of those things where I just like, my mum just used to find Star Wars, some really random Star Wars stuff. So a picture I showed you guys the other day with like the giant cardboard advertising droids. So I've got a full-size pit droid. I've got a full-size destroyer droid as well. That were in the window of Ottica's when that still existed, the bookshop. Because my mum just entered the raffle thing, fully expecting not to win, and then we won. And I was like, awesome, that was just for the pit droid. And then they were like, oh, by the way, we've got a destroyer droid up in the old showroom. You can have that as well. And my mum was like, great, thanks for that. And then it all started. But then one day she was like, hey, do you remember like when we were kids, there was like that big thing for girls was like this cartwheel doll thing where you could put your hands in the sort of attach the hands to the hands and the feet to the feet, and you could do this cartwheel with a doll that was almost the size of a child, basically.
Yeah, I remember that.
The Jar Jar Binks version of that.
Oh gosh.
And that's what my mum found in a shop somewhere in Brighton. She goes, I walked around the entire city centre with this thing just tied around my back like a piggyback thing. She goes, but she just left it on the end of my bed. So when I woke up next morning for Christmas, I was like, that's a life-size Jar Jar Binks sitting on the end of my bed. That's not weird at all. basically like Psycho. But we'll dig it out of my parents' loft some point, and maybe I'll add it onto here, and then Ash can just do the voice for it, because apparently this is a weird talent we didn't know you had. Jar Jar Ash.
It's like when you start with Jar Jar, who's ridiculously high pitched. If you bring it down a couple of octaves, you got Stitch from double.
And then you can do Stitch.
And then you bring it a little bit lower, and you got Kermit the Frog.
That's brilliant.
Stitch I can do it. Hannah means family. Family means nobody gets left behind. Oh my God.
This is just
I'm talking like this.
We should just do the whole episode talking like this and see if Dates now sounds weird, because we'll sound like this instead.
I'm just going to sound.
I laugh in that voice, which is so weird.
I've just never been able to do. I can't even do accents very well. Like if I was ever in a show where I needed an accent, I had to proper rehearse it to get it. I've always envied people.
I was a thing where if I watch something enough times, I can slowly pick up on like doing the. I can never say his name. Tamara Morris, isn't it him? Whatever he's called. That's his name, right? I'm saying that right. No.
Yeah, probably. Look, I think we've established one thing on this show: it doesn't matter about names.
To like his Clone War voice enough times, like over the years, that you can slowly pick up on the pitch and the dialect and you slowly you build it up, don't you? And it's like it just comes out eventually.
I did that with the Family Guy voices. That's how I started doing a lot of the impressions with the old Family Guy voices. But the problem is as well, the more I started doing that, the less of that. And it was Moss from the IT crowd was the other one. I got in trouble a lot at work for doing, because I got bet to talk like that in a call center for the whole day. So they would ring up and I'd be like, it would be like, good afternoon, you're through to Ryan Garrow. How can I help you? Have you tried forcing a system restart? I feel trapped like a moth in a bath. Just for like the whole thing. And then I got taken to a meeting. They were like, Ryan, it's a very good voice, but don't do it at work, please. It's serious conversation. It's like call recordings. Yeah, we listened to it. Stop. Right.
Yeah, I used to freak people out doing Gollum. to do both sides, with the evil of Gollum voice as well. I used to be able to do both. Yeah, but you sort of sat there and you could do the whole conversation by yourself and just switch voices, and people think you're a witch, man. It's like people you stop doing these voices.
That's brilliant, man. I'm so jealous. I can't do voices.
Yeah, but you've literally got access. If you need voices from your show, you can just go, guys, can you just do some?
Yeah, we need this, we need this and this. Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear.
Actually, my voice is heard at the Geek Week.
Yeah, it is.
The Geek Week in review.
On the week though, was there anything else? Are we done for the week? Is that
Boba Fett was the week? Was it Mandalorian?
Pretty much, wasn't it? Yeah.
And we learned that Jawas were slightly furry, and that's pretty much it.
We haven't missed anything, though, have we? There wasn't no other Easter eggs that we've missed or
I
overlooked.
thought there was quite a sort of Elysium Halo type vibe from the space station he was on.
Yeah, the big round space station.
Yeah, I kind of loved that idea, because it was also a bit like 2001 because of the whole big ring thing and the idea that gravity can be sustained by something continuously, obviously in perpetual motion. But I like the idea that the thing that I always thought was weird though in that was that the light was almost blocked in like little rectangles of like sun and darkness. Like this is the lameness of when I watch it. I'm like, I wonder how long you get day for and how long you get night for. This is going around. I was like,
Yeah.
So
no, there wasn't anything else.
If you're a scientist and you're watching this, please work out the rotation and time.
No, the only other kind of big thing that dropped this week was that Iron Studios are making a bunch of statues for Lord of the Rings. Apparently, Lord of the Rings is back in fashion right now. There's loads of toys.
The Amazon series is on the way, isn't it?
Yeah, that new series is coming out. Other than that, though, no, there were just a lot of things. I'm not sure if you guys felt the same. A lot of things came in this week, pre-order wise, starting to ship. I had a lot of invoices from CNC this week, I'm gonna admit.
Yeah, I had a couple come in.
A lot of Star Wars stuff all shipped at once for me.
I think it's all
pre-ordered now.
It's all slowly catching up. It's all slowly catching up. I think with obviously the last couple of years with things being delayed and stuff. I'm still waiting on my Darth Raven. Darth Raven? Yeah, Darth Raven. No, it's not Darth Raven. Revan.
I'm saying my new Bad Batch version of Rex is literally arriving tomorrow morning, and it's like
I got that weeks ago.
Yeah, you had that months, and it's from the same company. We both ordered through CNC at the same time. It's crazy. Isn't it?
It's really frustrating me seeing people throw so much shade at different companies at the moment because they're getting some people are getting really irate and throwing a load of shade at certain
so unpleasant
companies.
and unfair.
And I'm just kind of like, you know what? I for one love getting my stuff when it comes out. But if you like, for example, I had the Doctor Strange, Defender Strange pre-ordered with CNC, but there was no sniff of when that was coming, and then it was available on Pulse. It was so if you want it that bad, then buy it and then move on the next one. But don't throw shade. Oh, I haven't got my thing yet. Like it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's the game that you're playing, and without sort of sounding too much like a back in my day, but you know, if you go back even 4 years to when it was a case of a new wave would come out and you wouldn't know where you could pick that up. You would see a new wave of something advertised and you're like, right, I know this company will get a box and I know this company will get a box and I need to literally sit there and wait for the minute their website refreshes in order to get it, or pay hiked up prices on eBay or whatever. Whereas now with Spoil, it's a case of something comes out and you can get it. So what, you have to wait a couple of weeks extra or a couple of months extra. You will get it eventually, but don't slate the companies. Don't spit on the mouth that's the hand that's feeding you. Do you know what I mean?
Especially when a lot of these are very independent, aren't they? You know, they're very small operations that have only run by a few people, and like, you know, they're trying to, just like everyone else, just trying to make their way in the world.
But it's great that we've got Hasbro Pulse now. Like, that is an absolute blinding thing that we've got it in the UK, and the guys at Hasbro kind of pulling the strings that we've got that. But if it wasn't for the independents, we wouldn't have the market and the fandom and stuff that we have now. And people need to kind of remember that, and you know, give them the, you know, like your ethics there, are all like, you know, that you would go out and pick stuff up, but you've got the pre-orders, so you'd still go and you still, you know, still follow through on those and that. And it just upsets me that people throw shade. It's like, we're lucky. It's a good time to be a collector.
Yeah, it's like I said, even though I'm moving away from pre-ordering my stuff now, I could have very easily just messaged Comics Cocktails, because I literally ordered everything through Comics Cocktails. And I was like, because I sell toys on the side and stuff. That's my little side hobby as well. And, you know, if I imagined one of my customers come to me and just said, by the way, I'm cancelling like £4,000 worth of orders that would keep you comfy for the next year. I was gutting, innit? So I was like, well, no, I'll just sell them on. Like, I can still pick them up as I find them, but I just sell on the ones I get extra.
The biggest thing for me as well that shows how affluent, is that the right word? I think that the collector's market is nowadays, is I remember back in the day, and when I say back in the day, we're only going back a few years.
Not long, yeah.
But if you sold something, it like that, as soon as you put something on, it would sell for twice the price, and within minutes of you posting it, it would be gone. Like, you couldn't do a sales post on groups and then go and do something else. Like, if you did a sales post, you kind of had to be present for the first half hour because it would go mad. Whereas nowadays, people can put things on at less than retail and they will sit there for weeks and weeks and weeks. And that just shows how many things there are available. So, yeah, so don't slate your retailers. You know, if you don't want to buy from them, don't buy from them. But if you have purchased from them, then don't slate them. It's like negative feedback on eBay. What's the point? If you don't like the things, don't buy again. Like,
and stay in school.
don't do drugs. Like, it's just I don't know. It just frustrates
that's a good point,
me.
actually. That does lead us to our weekly feature, pre-order watch with SuperSorrell. Hey Ash, welcome back. Have you actually done any new pre-orders?
Nope.
Fantastic. Join us next week for more on that.
So you're pre-order free now. You have no pre-orders.
I am completely pre-order free. The last ones came through about a week ago, and it was like DC's Lobo, the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn finally showed up. But I've just moved them all on. I've literally stuck with I'm sticking with Star Wars for a while now. So I've just sold them on to people. I'm not even bothered.
Cool. Nice. I have rewatched all of the Marvel TV shows in the last couple of weeks. I watched WandaVision because it was like the year anniversary. And I don't get how we all went so crazy with theories and that. Rewatching it, I'm just kind of like, how did people go so level 11 with this? Rewatched Loki, which was better than I remembered. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a lot better than I remembered because of all the negativity there was around at the time. And Hawkeye as well. And interestingly enough, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Hitmonkey came onto Disney Plus last week. Now. Well worth a watch. Lots of little Easter eggs in there, little kind of like nods. There's like Silver Samurai, there's Punisher, like not as part of the storyline, but just that you see in bits and pieces. It's just a very violent, crazy anime style hack and slash Marvel project. It's really cool though. It's a lot of fun. Definitely well worth a watch. Probably one of my favorite animated Marvel series to date, compared to things like MODOK and stuff. But yeah, definitely worth a watch if you're lost for something to watch. It's got a very Kill Bill kind of vibe to it.
I'm not sure if it's on Disney Plus yet, but there was a series that came out, and like it was in the same vein as like the X-Men 90s show, but it was called Wolverine and the X-Men. Did you ever see that one where Emma Frost was like the leader of like Charles Xavier wasn't in that one, it was Emma Frost. I've got that on. I saw it in ECX, they call it. What's that shop called? That weird
Sex.
ESX. I went in there.
Yeah,
it's called Sex.
It's
CX. You watch the video, watch their adverts on telly. Their advert came on telly the other day. My wife went, "Is that what it's called?" I was like, "Yes." Why do we call it CEX? Because no one wants to say that. Come on. sorry.
Yeah, they had the box set of Wolverine and the X-Men, and I'm like, I'd never seen this before. I'm like, I never knew this existed. And they had the DVD for like £2. I'm like, I'll take a punt at that, and I brought it home, watched it. I binge watched the whole thing in a day.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Good costumes series as well.
It was brilliant.
Really good costumes.
It felt very comic booky. It felt like very connected to the comic book world. That was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot.
My one I really enjoyed was the X-Men Evolution, because I sort of grew up watching that on when it was coming out, and I still think that is an underrated and awesome X-Men show.
You put the song in my head now. Dun, 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 dun. When Gambit was one of the 4 apocalypse of the the 4 horsemen was Gambit.
4 horsemen.
Like, really?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many incarnations of the 4 horsemen. If you look, like everyone's been a horseman at some point. But yeah, no, it's a good show. Both of them are good shows. For me though, it's still animated X-Men. You can't top animated X-Men, which it's you can't top it. You can't top it.
So comic book for this week, I've got to admit, I have to laugh at this. I haven't got it to hand, but it's, like they made like Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, and then they made like all these really weird things, and they just add zombies to them.
Oh, well, Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, like Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter. Well, this week, Zenescope Comics have created, and I quote, Cinderella versus werewolves.
Oh,
and just when you go to a comic book store, like you just look at that. I am buying that. That is coming home with me.
Sounds quite good.
That is definitely up. That's gone up my flagpole. I'm saluting that one. That sounds awesome.
I saw
that's
on
my
the
kind
same
of random crossover stuff I love.
Same vein, I saw a cosplayer that did a Mandalorian Snow White.
Wow.
And the 7 Grogus.
And no, she had the Snow White. She was done up as Snow White, but the armor was all like Diamante, but in the colors, and yeah, it was very cool. Very cool. But I'm sure if you Google Snow White Mandalorian,
that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing it right now.
She's very cool. I can't remember the cosplayer's name. Yeah, I can't remember her name, but it's a very cool crossover. Like,
I love a good crossover. I'm a nightmare.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right, let's call it quits there, guys. Let's round it up. Episode 33. Hopefully there'll be a little bit more to discuss next week with toys and stuff. But if not, we're definitely going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to the Book of Boba Fett / Mandalorian season 3. It's, it is what it is. But yeah, so that is episode 33 all round up. If you are still listening or watching, then thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, check the description below for the guys' details. Do give them a follow. If you don't already do so, if you're listening on podcasts, then please do continue to download, share, subscribe, all of those things. It's very much appreciated. I've been Jacob's Toys.
If you're still watching, why are you still listening? This has been the weirdest episode we've ever done.
It has been. But as I said, we got SuperSorrell, we've got Ryan Speaks Geek. I'm Jacob's Toys. Until next week, keep it geek.
Keep it geek.
The Geek Week in Review.